Here's the camera.
There it is. See it?
Oh.
Can you zoom? Crouch zoom?
It won't work.
No. Don't use this tripod. Jiggly. Not a good one to use.
I think you need a new one.
I do need a new one. There's so many things in my pockets. This is the Fujifilm X100VI. Like that? It's a bit close.
Close. So, this is not a full review. Ethan bought an X100 Mark VI. Are we calling it Mark V now? Because it was like F.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, V?
I sold my X100V because I was going to get one of these, and I still am, but I haven't got one yet. And then Ethan got one out of the blue, and we've shot a bunch with it. We've shot some weddings with it. Ethan's done some street and stuff like that, family stuff, and just talk about how it was to use in a real world situation, especially at that wedding we shot. It was like raining, really high pressure.
Yeah.
We didn't use it a whole bunch, but I did take a fair few photos with it. So we'll get into the video now, but we're going to put a bunch of edited photos up on the screen if you guys want to check out and support the channel. They're all edited with my presets. If you want to support the channel, check the link in the description. You can check out my CTM Pro Color Lightroom presets. Let's get into the video. In terms of the body, it's pretty much the same.
It's really, really familiar with some slight tweaks. I think it feels that little bit heavier because it now has IBIS.
Yeah.
So it has that little bit more weight, some kind of interesting or different curves, like this back panel is like a little bit sloped.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's similar to the new medium format one as well, that curve. I didn't notice that until now.
Yeah. But otherwise, virtually the same.
Pretty much the same as the X100V. Ergonomically feels the same. I don't think the viewfinder is any different, eh?
No, I think it's all the same.
Obviously the sensor is now, what, 40 megapixels?
I think 42, right? 41, 42?
40 something megapixels.
The X-Trans 5 sensor, I think.
Unnecessary to me, but great. Same lens, which has always been really good. The thing I noticed straight away when I picked it up, I hadn't heard many people talking about it in the few videos that I did watch. But I picked it up and used the autofocus tracking. I was like, holy shit. It's like, they've fixed it.
It's a big upgrade.
It's actually usable now for faster paced stuff like professional work. The only thing is, obviously still only has one card slot, which was pretty funny because we actually went to the event, the release event for this. Fuji invited us, and the CEO or whatever from Japan was there.
Yeah.
And Ethan, he was like, he asked Ethan what he thinks we should change, and he was like, put another card slot in it, basically.
Be the perfect camera.
He sounded like he listened, but two guys from New Zealand, who cares? The autofocus it's not like as good as my Sony, but at this point, it's actually good enough to use for like engagement shoots, family shoots, weddings, anything like that. The tracking does actually work quite well. I've seen a few reports online where people are saying that it doesn't work well. That has not been my experience, but maybe different firmwares, maybe different lighting situations. You never really know, but for us, it's been really good. I would say like 95% hit rate.
Yeah, it's 90%. It's certainly good enough. It's no longer a hindrance. I think my biggest issue with the X100V was that it wasn't small enough for me to pocket, and it wasn't as smart as my Sony's. So, if I'm going to not pocket a camera, I may as well bring a Sony.
Yeah.
But that's very, very different now. I bring the X100VI with me everywhere. Haven't picked up a Sony for personal work since I got it. So it's which says a lot because I had the X100V for maybe 4 years, three or 4 years.
Yeah.
Since it came out, day it came out, used it very, very little.
And for me, the X100V was always a travel camera. It was always like travel, personal work. My daily camera, I'd always have it in my car for the same reasons, whereas it wasn't quite good enough to use for my work, which is generally a little bit faster paced than you might think wedding photography is, or engagement shoots, where I'm using like a lot of movement and stuff like that and walking around heaps, and I'm shooting quite fast paced, and it just wasn't able to keep up. I did find the battery life is still pretty bad, but
that's not great. Yeah, but
it's not unusable. You just need a couple batteries for like 3-4 batteries for a wedding day if you were actually using this as like your second camera.
Yeah.
I think it would be great like this as your second camera, and like X-T5 with the 33mm 1.4 or whatever.
Yep.
That'll be a great combo. And then you also got the
Yep. So I
bulge
have
in your pocket there.
bulgy. The wide conversion lens. So the 28mm
So the 28mm adapter.
converter.
It instantly makes it a lot bigger.
Oh, way bigger. But again, still smaller and more manageable than a Sony.
Yeah, totally.
I
And
love,
it looks
I love
quite good.
28. Yeah, and this is just a lone unit.
It doesn't seem to affect the sharpness or anything.
No, still super sharp files. The autofocus, of course, is still the same because it's not autofocusing through the converter. It's converting, or it's focusing in the lens or in the body.
Yeah, legitimately just makes it a 28mm.
Yep. I've always said if Sony made a 28mm 1.4, it would be probably my go-to lens for everything. And now that there's a 28mm converter for this, it's just always on camera. I don't take it off. Yeah.
In terms of image quality, I do still find that I found I had the same kind of issue that I had with XT5 files where they just weren't quite playing ball in Lightroom in terms of like sharpness. But I noticed when I was exporting the files from the wedding that the final JPEGs look fine.
Yeah.
It's almost like it just
Lightroom
just can't render them properly on the screen.
Yeah.
Once you've edited them and exported them, the JPEGs look better than what they look like in Lightroom. So I'm not as concerned about it as I was. And even at 40 megapixels, if you can export them at like 6,000 pixels on the long edge, which is what I usually export a wedding at. You know, you're kind of compressing them anyway, so you're not going right into 100% when you're at 100%.
Yeah.
So they look really good. Same thing with the JPEGs, like shooting JPEGs straight out of this camera are definitely what, in my opinion, where this camera shines.
Yep.
They're still not quite the look I would want for my weddings. Like it would completely change my style.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have any issues doing it. Like if you were like rebranding and you were putting like a new portfolio out there, you could easily shoot a wedding with this and just deliver JPEGs. Like they're that good.
I think I've seen a lot of talk about the new Real Ace film simulation. I think it's really nice. It's like you said, it's not what I would want out of like my wedding and professional work. It is quite flat, super like very, very natural, but kind of enhanced natural.
Yeah.
I think with some tweaking, I could get it to a place where I'd be really happy with it straight out of camera.
And the video was quite good too. Now that it has IBIS.
Yeah,
you can actually kind of use it for video, and it shoots airflog and everything like that. You do have the downs. There's plenty of downsides to it, like having the bad battery life, and I don't know what it's like with the heating situation, but just the fact that you can use. I mean, you could use the X100V for video, and I talked about that in my previous videos, and I was saying it's not really ideal, and people are like, oh, you can put on a gimbal and blah blah. I don't want to put it on a gimbal. No. Just being able to shoot handheld with this one is great. Having IBIS just makes a big difference if you want to do some hybrid with this camera, and having all those film profiles as well.
Yep.
But for me, overall, going from the X100V to this one, it's changed it from a everyday, slow shooting, portrait, like street photography, everyday moments camera, to something more professional that I can use in a professional setting quite easily.
Yep.
And it's mostly down to the autofocus for me.
Yep.
I don't really care about the extra megapixels, but the autofocus is definitely better.
Is it a worthy upgrade for you? Is it worth the hassle of selling yours and waiting?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I didn't, when I sold my X100V, I was kind of just selling it because I just wanted to I knew I would want to get the new one anyway.
Yep.
And I thought, I would probably get a little bit of a deal on one, but, I wasn't like, I'm going to need this camera.
Yep.
Just after using your one with that autofocus tracking, I'm like, I would definitely sell my X100V for it. But you have to bear in mind also that we're both professional full-time wedding photographers. This is what we do for work. So buying this kind of stuff is just like buying tools for us. Whereas if you were like a hobbyist and taking family photos and stuff, I don't think you need this camera. I think the X100V is fine.
Yeah, I guess we'll update again when we give it some more work, right? Like, give it some.
We'll take it to the shoot tomorrow as well. Do some like behind the scenes stuff, and we've got some more weddings coming up.
Yep.
So we'll give a full product review in a few weeks' time once we've really put it through its paces.
Yeah, I'll be taking it to the States.
Yeah,
which
we'll do it when you get back from there.
Yeah, yeah. Have lots of stuff to show them.
So watch out for that video, guys, and see you in the next one. Nice. Oh, we didn't talk about that flash. Have you got that little flash?
Yeah.
grab that. We forgot one thing. We've been using this little flash with it, like an on-camera flash.
I just learned yesterday that these are also discontinued.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, bummer, but.
So I picked up this Fuji EF20 flash, which we were using on it. Some of the photos that you see have this on top. Makes it a pretty funny looking unit, but it works really well there.
Yeah, oh, it's great.
It is discontinued, so I don't know what you're going to use instead of this. I'm sure there's a bunch of options from like Godox or whatever.
Yeah, there's a similar there's a similar offering from Godox. I think it's the Retro Mini Lux or something like that. It's kind of the same general form factor.
Yeah.
But it's great, especially for like dance floor and kind of reception stuff that has to go on the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying it. Even just around home, just as a little fill flash, just photographing my kid and dog. It's really basic, but it's quite functional. TTL and everything, it does all the thinking for you, really.
Sold.
Good.